Every morning, I secretly fed a quiet, hungry boy. "You're wasting food," my boss snapped. Then one day, black SUVs surrounded the diner. A colonel walked in and asked for me. "That boy's father was one of my men," he said. "His final letter was about you." 4 black SUVs pulled into the parking lot of Mike's Diner at exactly 10:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Government plates, tinted windows. They parked in perfect formation like a presidential motorcade visiting some nowhere town on Route 9 in upstate New York. I was wiping down the counter when they arrived. Sarah, my waitress, dropped the coffee pot. It shattered on the tile floor. Nobody moved to clean it up. The diner went silent, dead silent. 12 customers frozen mid-bite, mid-conversation, mid-everything. A man in full military dress uniform stepped out of the lead vehicle. Stars on his shoulders catching the morning light. Rows of medals across his chest. 2 officers in identical uniforms flanked him as he walked toward the entrance. Old Man Patterson's fork clattered onto his plate. The door opened. The bell chimed. The colonel, because that's what those stars meant, removed his cap and scanned the room. "I'm looking for Michael Torres," he said. His voice filled every corner of the diner. My hands were shaking. I stepped forward. "That's me. I'm Colonel David Reeves, United States Army Special Forces." He stood at attention. "I'm here about a boy named Danny Morrison." My heart stopped. "Is he okay?" The colonel's jaw tightened. "He's safe now, with his grandmother in Syracuse, but I need to speak with you about what you did for him. I'm Mike Torres, 58 years old. I've owned Mike's Diner for the past 40 years, inherited it from my father when I was 18, and he had his first heart attack. It's not much. 12 booths, 8 counter stools, breakfast and lunch only. We close at 3 p.m. because I'm too tired to stay open for dinner. The diner sits on Route 9 between Poughkeepsie and Albany, small town called Rhinebeck, population 2,800. Everyone knows everyone, and everyone knows everyone's business. 6 weeks ago, the kid had shown up for the first time. 10 years old, maybe 11, torn jacket that was too thin for October weather, jeans with holes in the knees that weren't the fashionable kind, sneakers held together with duct tape. But it was his eyes that got me, empty, hollow, the kind of eyes that had seen too much. He'd slid into the corner booth, the one by the window with the view of the parking lot, sat there for maybe 5 minutes before Sarah noticed him. "Can I get you something, hun?" she'd asked. "Just water, please." His voice had been so quiet I'd barely heard it from behind the counter. Sarah had brought him a glass. He'd wrapped both hands around it like it was precious, like it was all he had. I'd watched him nurse that water for an hour. He never ordered food, never asked for a menu, just sat there staring out the window, making that single glass last as long as possible. When he finally left, I'd found myself thinking about him all day, about those empty eyes, about the way his hands had shaken slightly when he'd lifted the water glass. He came back the next day, same booth, same torn jacket, same glass of water. "Just water again?" I'd asked, walking over to him. He'd nodded, wouldn't meet my eyes. I'd gone back to the kitchen, made a short stack of pancakes, butter and syrup on the side, brought it out to him. "Kitchen mistake," I'd said, setting the plate down. "Gonna have to toss it otherwise, you mind?" His hand had shaken, reaching for the fork. He'd looked at me like I was offering him gold instead of $3 worth of pancakes. Then he'd eaten, fast, like the food might vanish if he slowed down, like someone might take it away. When he finished, he'd wiped his mouth with a napkin, whispered, "Thank you," and left. That became our routine. Every morning at 7 a.m. he'd arrive, slide into the corner booth, order water. I'd make a kitchen mistake, pancakes one day, French toast the next, eggs and bacon after that. He'd eat everything, never left a crumb. Then he'd thank me quietly and disappear. We never talked about it, never acknowledged what was really happening. I was feeding a starving child and we both pretended it was an accident. Sarah noticed on his 5th visit. She'd cornered me in the kitchen while I was making his eggs. "Mike, you're losing money on that kid. It's fine." "It's not fine. That's the 3rd kitchen mistake this week. We both know you're doing it on purpose." So he's scamming you. He probably has parents waiting in a car outside. They're teaching him to beg for free food. He's 10 years old, Sarah. He's a con artist in training. She'd crossed her arms. "You're too soft. This is a business, not a charity. I can afford a few pancakes. It's not about affording it. It's about being taken advantage of. This kid sees you coming a mile away." I'd plated the eggs. "Then let him see me coming." Sarah had rolled her eyes. "Your funeral." Word spread fast in a small town. By the end of the first week, the regular customers had noticed, started commenting. "Feeding strays now?" Old Man Patterson had sneered from his counter stool on day 8. He came in every morning at 6:30 a.m., ordered the same thing, 2 eggs over easy, bacon, white toast, and complained about everything. "That's how you go broke, Mike." "I'm doing fine, Patterson. Back in my day, kids earned their meals." Another regular, Bob Chen, had chimed in from booth 3. "You're teaching him to be lazy, teaching him the world owes him something." "Maybe I'm teaching him the world isn't entirely cruel," I'd said. "You're a sucker," Patterson had laughed. "Kids playing you like a fiddle." I'd ignored him, kept feeding the boy. Then Linda Chen, Bob's wife, the town gossip, ran the local Facebook group, Rhinebeck Community Updates. Made it worse. She'd started taking photos, sneaky ones from her booth, me bringing the kid food, him eating. Her angles made it look staged, calculated, like proof of some scam. She'd posted them with a caption, "Local diner owner falls for obvious con. How long before this generous man asks the community to help pay for his kindness. Some people are too naive to run a business. The comments had been vicious. Pathetic. The kid's probably laughing at him behind his back. Some people are too stupid to see when they're being used. This is what happens when bleeding hearts run businesses. They go bankrupt and then blame everyone else. The post had gotten 147 likes, 43 comments, all negative, all mocking. Sarah had shown it to me during the lunch rush 2 weeks into the routine. Mike, you need to see this. Everyone's talking about you. I'd glanced at her phone, read a few comments, handed it back. I don't care what people think. Well, I do. Her voice had risen. I work here too, and frankly, it's humiliating watching you get played every single day. Customers are laughing at you, at us. They think we're idiots. Let them think what they want. It's affecting business. People are coming in just to watch the show, just to see if the sucker's still feeding the con artist kid. Then they're buying coffee and food while they watch. Sounds like good business to me. You're not taking this seriously. I'm taking it exactly as seriously as it deserves. She'd thrown her hands up. Fine. Ruin your reputation. See if I care. But the comments got to her. Got to all the staff. My cook, Jimmy, 62 years old, worked for my dad before he worked for me, pulled me aside during prep one morning. Mike, people are talking, saying you're soft in the head, that you're being conned by a kid who's probably part of some organized begging ring. Jimmy, I've known you 40 years. Do you think I'm stupid? No, but I think you're too kind for your own good. And in this world, that's dangerous. The mockery continued, escalated. Patterson started a running commentary every morning. There's your little friend. Let me guess. Another kitchen mistake? How convenient. You must have the most incompetent cook in New York. Bob Chen joined in. I give it 2 more weeks before the kid asks for cash directly. That's how these scams work. They build trust, then go for the big ask. Linda posted updates. Photos of the kid arriving. Photos of me bringing him food. Each post with a new sarcastic caption. Day 12. Still falling for it. Day 15. Wonder how much free food has been given away. Someone should audit this place. Day 20. At what point does charity become stupidity? The comments kept coming. The mockery kept building. Sarah confronted me again on day 23. It was a Friday afternoon. Slow day. The kid had come and gone. I was cleaning the grill. Mike, I'm serious. This has to stop. My friends are texting me asking if you're okay, if you're having some kind of breakdown, if maybe the diner's struggling and you're trying to create sympathy. The diner's fine. Then why are you doing this? Why are you letting this kid take advantage of you? I'd set down my spatula, looked at her directly. Sarah, when's the last time you went hungry? What? Hungry. Not I skipped lunch. Hungry. Real hungry. The kind where your stomach hurts and you can't think straight and you'd do anything for food. I have, when I was 12, after my mom died and my dad was drinking away the insurance money. I went 3 days without eating. A waitress at a diner in Albany, place called Rosa's. It's gone now. She snuck me food. Told me the same lie I'm telling that kid. Kitchen mistakes, wrong orders, whatever she could make up. Sarah had gone quiet. She saved me, I continued. And when I asked her why she was helping me, you know what she said? She said, because somebody helped me once, and I'm just passing it forward. So that's what I'm doing, passing it forward. But how do you know he actually needs it? How do you know this is real? I know hunger when I see it. 40 years in this business. I know. She'd left without responding, but she'd stopped complaining after that. The boy kept coming. I kept feeding him. The mockery kept building. Then on a Tuesday, day 32 of our routine, he didn't show up. I'd waited, watched the clock. 7 a.m. came and went, then 7:15, then 7:30. No kid. Looks like your little friend finally found a better mark, Patterson had said with a smug grin. I'd said nothing, just wiped down counters and worried. Wednesday, he didn't show. Thursday, he didn't show. By Friday, Patterson was practically gleeful. See? Told you. Used you up and moved on. Hope you learned your lesson, Mike. Suckers get suckered. Maybe he's sick, I'd said. Or maybe he found someone else to con. Someone with even less sense than you. Sarah had tried to be diplomatic. Mike, I'm sure he's fine. Kids move. Families relocate. It happens. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Sunday came. No kid. Monday. No kid. Tuesday morning, 2 weeks after he'd disappeared, the black SUVs arrived. Colonel Reeves stood in my diner, cap under his arm, medals gleaming, eyes serious. Mr. Torres, what I'm about to tell you is part classified, part personal, but you deserve to know the truth about Danny Morrison. The diner was silent. Every customer, every staff member, watching. Danny's father was Master Sergeant Ryan Morrison, Green Beret, served under my command for 8 years, one of the best soldiers I've ever had the privilege to lead. Patterson's coffee cup was frozen halfway to his mouth. 6 months ago, Sergeant Morrison deployed to Syria, classified operation. He left his wife and son here in Rhinebeck. They'd just moved to the area for a fresh start after his previous deployment. The colonel's voice was steady, but I could hear the emotion underneath. What Sergeant Morrison didn't know, what none of us knew, was that 3 weeks into his deployment, his wife abandoned Danny, just left, took the car, cleaned out their bank account, and disappeared. Danny was 10 years old, alone in their rental house. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. The boy was too scared to tell anyone. Thought if he called the authorities, they'd send him to foster care. Thought if he told his school, they'd take him away from the town where his dad would come back to find him, so he survived on his own. The colonel pulled out a manila envelope. Sergeant Morrison left Danny an emergency fund, $400 in cash, hidden in a coffee can. Danny used that money to pay the electric bill, the water bill, to buy peanut butter and bread from the dollar store, and when the money ran out, he went hungry. I felt sick. Until he found your diner, the colonel continued. For 6 weeks, the only real meal Danny ate each day was the one you gave him. The kitchen mistakes you pretended to make. The food you claimed you'd have to throw away. 6 weeks? I whispered. He was alone for 6 weeks? He was alone for 12 weeks total. 6 weeks before he found you. 6 weeks after. The colonel's jaw clenched. 5 weeks ago, Sergeant Morrison was killed in action. Hostile fire during an operation. He died instantly. The room was spinning. We didn't know about Danny's situation. Didn't know his mother had abandoned him. The army tried to notify her. Couldn't locate her. Started tracing relatives. It took us 3 weeks to find Danny's grandmother in Syracuse. When we located Danny himself, he was alone in that house, with no food, no heat, and no idea his father was dead. Oh God, Sarah whispered. Child Protective Services took Danny into emergency custody 2 weeks ago. That's why he stopped coming here. His grandmother, Mrs. Patricia Morrison, Danny's paternal grandmother, has full custody now. He's safe. He's being fed. He's in therapy. The colonel reached into the envelope, pulled out a letter. The paper was worn, folded and unfolded many times. Before Sergeant Morrison died, he wrote letters. One to his son, one to his mother, and one to someone he'd never met, but who meant more to him than he could express. The colonel looked at me. He wrote one to you. To me? He didn't know your name. Danny had told him about the diner in their phone calls, about the nice man who fed him breakfast. Sergeant Morrison wrote this letter in case he didn't make it back. He asked me personally to deliver it if anything happened to him. Colonel Reeves unfolded the letter, began to read. To the man at the diner, I don't know your name. My son calls you the nice man who gives him breakfast. He tells me you make kitchen mistakes, and you'd have to throw the food away if he didn't eat it. Sir, I'm not an idiot. I know what you're really doing, and I want you to know that you're saving my son's life while I'm trying to save other people's lives half a world away. I don't know why Danny's alone. He won't tell me the full story, just says mom's gone, and he's figuring it out. I'm trying to get emergency leave, trying to get home, but the paperwork takes time, and I'm in the middle of an operation. So until I can get there, you're the one keeping my son alive. You're the one making sure he doesn't starve. You're the one letting him keep his dignity by pretending it's charity instead of need. I can never repay you for that. But if something happens to me, if I don't make it home, please know that a soldier fighting for his country died knowing his son wasn't alone, died knowing there are still good people in the world. Thank you for feeding my boy. Thank you for not asking why. Thank you for being the kind of man I'm fighting to protect. If I don't make it back, please keep an eye on Danny. Even if he stops coming, even if he's placed with family, please remember him. Please tell him his dad loved him more than life itself. Respectfully, Master Sergeant Ryan Morrison, U.S. Army Special Forces. The colonel's voice had cracked halfway through. He folded the letter carefully. That letter was read at Sergeant Morrison's memorial service, 200 soldiers, his entire unit. When we finally located Danny and learned about you, about what you'd done, every man in that unit wanted to come here personally to thank you. He stood at attention, saluted. Every officer behind him did the same, sharp, precise, holding the salute. On behalf of the United States Army and the brothers of Master Sergeant Ryan Morrison, thank you for taking care of one of our own. I stood there, throat tight, unable to speak, tears running down my face. The colonel lowered his salute, reached into the envelope again, pulled out a folded American flag. From Danny, he wanted you to have this. It's the flag from his father's coffin. He says the pancakes you gave him kept him alive. Says his dad would want you to have this. He placed the flag on the counter in front of me. The weight of it, the meaning of it. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. The colonel turned to address the diner. His voice went cold, sharp, military. I understand some of you mocked this man for his kindness, called him stupid for feeding a hungry child, posted about him on social media, made him a joke in your community. Patterson had gone white. Actually, white. Linda Chen was staring at the floor, tears streaming down her face. Sarah looked like she wanted to disappear. Sergeant Morrison died defending your freedom, the colonel continued. Died defending people like you. And while he was bleeding out in the Syrian desert, while his life was ending, this man made sure his son didn't starve, made sure his son had one person who cared whether he lived or died. The silence was suffocating. Remember that the next time you mistake compassion for weakness, the next time you mock someone for showing basic human decency, remember that while you were sitting in your comfortable homes, posting cruel comments on Facebook, a 10-year-old boy was surviving alone because his mother abandoned him, and one man in this entire town, gave enough of a damn to feed him. Bob Chen had tears running down his face. Patterson was staring at his coffee cup like it held the answers to his shame. The colonel looked at me one more time. Sergeant Morrison's grandmother asks if you'd come visit Danny. He talks about you, says he misses your pancakes, says he wants to thank you properly. Of course, I managed. Of course I'll visit. She's written her phone number on the envelope. Call whenever you're ready. He extended his hand. I shook it. You're a good man, Mr. Torres, the kind of man we fight for, the kind of man who reminds us why we serve. He saluted again. Then he and his officers walked out. The door closed. The bell chimed. The SUVs pulled away. The diner stayed silent for maybe 30 seconds. Then Patterson stood up, walked over to me, pulled out his wallet. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I'm so sorry. I was wrong about everything." He put $200 on the counter. "For the kid, for his meals, I'll pay for every breakfast he ate, and then some." Bob Chen came over next. "I'll match that, and I'm sorry too. We should have helped instead of mocking." Linda Chen was sobbing openly. "I'm deleting those posts, all of them. And Mike, God, Mike, I'm so sorry." Sarah was crying too. "I should have supported you, should have helped you. Instead, I made you feel bad for doing the right thing." "It's okay," I said. "It's not okay. You're a better person than any of us deserve." Over the next hour, every customer in the diner apologized. Most left money. Some left a lot of money. By the end of the day, there was over $3,000 in cash on my counter. "For Danny," they said. "For his future. For his college fund. For anything he needs." I called Mrs. Patricia Morrison that night, explained who I was. "Oh, Mike," she said, her voice breaking. "Danny talks about you every day. Says you were his angel. Says you saved him when he thought no one cared. Can I visit? Please, please come. He's been asking." I drove to Syracuse that Saturday. Mrs. Morrison lived in a small house near the university. Neat, clean, comfortable. Danny answered the door. He looked different. Clean clothes, healthy color, but the same eyes. The same hollow look that was slowly filling with something that might become hope. "Mr. Mike," he whispered. "Hey, kid." He hugged me, tight, desperate, like I was the only solid thing in a world that had betrayed him. "I'm sorry I stopped coming," he said. "They took me away. I wanted to say goodbye, but they wouldn't let me. It's okay. I understand. Did you get the flag? I wanted you to have it. Dad would want you to have it. I got it. It's in a place of honor at the diner." We sat in Mrs. Morrison's living room. She brought us lemonade and cookies. Danny told me about his dad, about how much he missed him, about how scared he'd been when his mom left. "She just left one day," he said. "Didn't even say goodbye. Just took all the money and drove away. I thought she'd come back. I waited and waited. Then I ran out of money for food and I found your diner. Why didn't you tell anyone? A teacher, a neighbor. I was scared they'd send me away. Send me somewhere Dad couldn't find me when he came home. I thought if I could just hold on until Dad got back, everything would be okay. But his dad hadn't come back, would never come back. Your dad was a hero," I said. "And you're a hero too. You survived something that would have broken most adults. I survived because of you. The pancakes, the French toast, the eggs. That was the only food I got most days. Everything else was peanut butter or crackers. You should have told me. I would have done more. You did enough. You treated me like I mattered, like I was worth feeding even though I couldn't pay. That meant everything." I visited Danny every week after that, brought him food from the diner, sat with him and his grandmother, watched him slowly come back to life. The town changed too. Linda Chen shut down her Facebook group, started a new one called Rhinebeck Kindness Initiative, focused on helping people instead of tearing them down. Patterson started volunteering at the local food bank. Told me one day, seeing that colonel, hearing about what that kid went through, I realized I've been an asshole for 73 years. Figured I should try something different. Bob Chen and his wife started a fund for military families. Danny's Fund, they called it, to help kids whose parents are deployed. Sarah organized fundraisers at the diner, all proceeds going to veterans organizations. The $3,000 from customers turned into $12,000, then $20,000. The town rallied, created a college fund for Danny. By the time he turned 11, there was $47,000 waiting for him. The diner became a different place. Kinder, warmer. People started looking out for each other instead of judging each other. And every Saturday morning, Danny came in for breakfast. Mrs. Morrison drove him down. He'd sit in his corner booth, order pancakes, pay with money from his allowance. But I'd always make a kitchen mistake. Extra bacon, extra eggs, a milkshake I forgot someone ordered. He'd smile every time, understood the game, understood that some kindness doesn't need acknowledgement. One year after the SUVs arrived, Colonel Reeves came back, alone this time, in civilian clothes. "Mr. Torres, I wanted to update you. Danny's doing well, on a roll at his new school, joined the Boy Scouts. Talks about joining the Army someday, following his father's footsteps. He's a good kid. Because of you. You gave him something to hold on to when everything else fell apart. You showed him the world isn't entirely cruel. I just fed him pancakes. You did more than that. You saw him. You treated him with dignity. You didn't make him beg or prove he was deserving. You just fed him because he was hungry. That's humanity. That's what we fight for." The colonel pulled out a medal. Bronze, small, official looking. "This is a civilian commendation for extraordinary service to a military family. Sergeant Morrison's unit approved it. The Army approved it. You'll never wear it on a uniform, but you earned it more than most soldiers earn theirs." He pinned it to my shirt. "Thank you for being the kind of man who makes this country worth defending." He left. I stood behind my counter holding a military commendation and a folded flag, and the gratitude of a soldier who died thinking his son was safe because one person had cared. Patterson was sitting at his usual spot. "You know what the difference is between you and everyone else, Mike? What's that? We all saw a kid asking for free food. You saw a child who needed help. The rest rest of us saw a potential scam. You saw a human being, and that's why you're better than all of us combined. I'm not better. I just remember being hungry once. Then maybe we all need to remember something. Need to remember what it's like to need help, to be vulnerable, to pray someone sees us as worth saving. He left 2 20s on the counter for the next kid who needs it. Because there's always going to be another kid who needs it. I'm writing this 5 years after those black SUVs pulled into my parking lot. Danny's 15 now, tall, confident, nothing like the hollow-eyed kid who sat in my corner booth nursing a glass of water. He still comes in every Saturday, still orders pancakes, still gets my kitchen mistakes. Mrs. Morrison says he's decided. After high school, he's joining the army, following his father. Part of me wants to talk him out of it, tell him there are safer choices, easier paths. But I remember Sergeant Morrison's letter, remember the pride in that colonel's voice, remember that some people are called to serve something bigger than themselves. Danny will make a good soldier, because he learned early that the world can be cruel, but he also learned that it can be kind, that sometimes one person caring is enough to change everything. The flag from Sergeant Morrison's coffin hangs on the wall behind my counter. Next to it, the medal, and a photo, Danny and me, taken last year. Him in his Boy Scout uniform, me in my diner apron, both of us smiling. People ask me all the time, do you regret it? All that criticism, all that mockery? No, not for a second. Because the people who mocked my kindness were just advertising their own emptiness. They were showing me who they were. And when the truth came out, when that colonel walked through my door and revealed what was really happening, they learned something about themselves they'd been avoiding. That compassion isn't weakness. That kindness isn't stupidity. That sometimes feeding a hungry child is the most important thing you can do with your day. The boy I fed for free paid me back in a currency they'll never understand. Not in money, not in fame, not in social media likes, in meaning, in purpose, in the knowledge that for 12 weeks I was the difference between a child surviving and a child giving up. And when that child's father died fighting for our country, he died believing his son was safe, died believing there were still good people in the world. That's worth more than every cruel comment, every mocking post, every snide remark, because at the end of the day, those people have to live with themselves, have to live with the fact that when a child needed help, they chose judgment over kindness. I get to live knowing I chose differently, and Danny gets to live, period. That's all that matters. The pancakes I gave him kept him alive. The flag he gave me reminds me why I'm alive, to pass it forward, to remember that waitress in Albany who fed a hungry 12-year-old boy, to be for someone else what she was for me. Some people will mock that, call it weakness, call it stupidity. Let them. Their cruelty is their problem. My kindness is mine, and I'll keep making kitchen mistakes for every hungry kid who walks through my door, because that's what good people do. That's what Rosa taught me. That's what Sergeant Morrison died believing, that the world isn't entirely cruel, that compassion exists, that sometimes one person caring is enough to save a life. Danny's life, my life, maybe even yours. If you're reading this and you've ever seen someone who needed help and looked away because you were afraid of being taken advantage of, reconsider, because somewhere, right now, there's a kid sitting alone in an empty house trying to survive until their parent comes home, and maybe their parent isn't coming home, and maybe you're the only person who can make sure that kid survives anyway. Feed them, help them, see them as human beings instead of potential scams. Be the kitchen mistake that saves a life. I promise you, the flag you might receive in return is worth more than every criticism you'll ever face.